Hi, I'm Kate Eddington, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make scrambled eggs. Back home, when I would make eggs every single weekend with my mom, and she always taught me how to do it, and in my opinion, this is the best way to cook eggs. So right now, I just cracked 3 eggs in this little mixing bowl, and now I'm going to add some salt and pepper. Some people add salt and pepper to their eggs after they're done, or maybe when they're in the skillet, but I've always just put them in before because I think it works the best and it's the easiest to know how much you have. Then I also add milk because by adding milk it makes the eggs fluffier, and this is just for taste. Some people have used other things, but in my opinion milk works the best, but it is not a necessity, and neither is salt and pepper really, but it's just for added taste and flavor. Then you want to whisk it all together to make it the best, and then head on over to the stove, pour all of it in. And one thing about the pan is before you put your eggs in the pan, you want to make sure you have some type of vegetable oil or canola oil or something along those lines. Otherwise the eggs will stick to the bottom of the pan and it will make it very hard and they're more likely to burn. And so to avoid that, you want to make sure you cover all the bottom in some sort of canola or vegetable oil. And then I'll have my spatula here to move them around with. And then as far as temperature goes, you want to make sure your whole skillet is covered, like the bottom is covered. And then I usually put the temperature to about halfway, a little over medium, probably for me. So right now I got it at about 7 out of 9 on the scale. And then you also can add extra things to eggs. So some people will use hot sauce or ketchup for eggs. For me, I like adding cheese to my eggs, so it's really just a personal preference. And but on my eggs, I've always put cheese on them, so I'm just gonna show you how to do so. And as the eggs start to warm up, there's kind of a long waiting period, so it's very important you stay and you pay attention to the eggs. And that's a big key because you do not want your eggs beginning to burn, and that can just go bad and you'll have to restart all over again if your eggs burn, because they don't start to harden up right away. They really stay liquid for a while. And so you really want to pay attention for when they start to harden, because once they start to harden, it begins to go very rapidly. And so here we're getting pretty close. Let them sit for a little longer. Sorry, had to turn the timer for this particular oven back on. Turned off. But here, now if we get a little closer, you can see in the pan how when I scrape the bottom, some chunks of egg are coming up that have hardened. And that's a good thing. That means the eggs are beginning to cook. And usually once it starts, it begins to go very fast. So you want to keep scraping the bottom of the skillet to make sure that no eggs are just sitting on the bottom, because that's when they can begin to burn, and that's when it'll go bad. And so you want to avoid that. And so the milk actually adds a little bit to the eggs, makes them, like I said, fluffier and even just a little bigger. And so, but milk, if you want your eggs to be fluffy and you don't have milk, you can also use sour cream. I know that works too to make your eggs fluffier, but it, like I said, it's not a necessity. And then I already put in the salt and pepper. And like I already said, that's just an option to put in before or after also. But also not a necessity. I mean, as you can see, the eggs are starting to get a little harder. And that means they're getting pretty close to done, as they're not really a liquid anymore. So that's when you get your bowl ready. And about now is the time once your eggs have all begun to get pretty hard, it's not much of a liquid consistency at all anymore. This is when you'll begin to put your cheese in with your eggs. And how much cheese is really up to you. And then you can just mix the eggs in with the cheese to help the cheese melt, or you can take it off and pull it out and let it melt on top. It's really up to the cook, but in my opinion it's best to let all the cheese melt in. And then you want to keep the eggs, spilled a little. You want to keep the eggs moving so they don't burn. And then once you are satisfied, you can go ahead and put it in the bowl, and then make sure to turn off your oven, or stove, sorry. And then here is what the scrambled eggs will look like when they are complete. All in all, the eggs came out really good. Just a couple of things you always want to remember. You always want to remember to coat your pan in vegetable oil. You always want to make sure to pay attention to your eggs, because once they get rolling and they get cooking, it's really easy to lose track of them. And make sure you have all your ingredients ready, and you should be good. And I hope they're as good as the eggs I've always made with my mom. So.